Good day, students. So this time we will focus our discussion on word problem involving sets. So from your lesson 4, we talk about Venn diagram. So those are still part of problem solving, but indirect lang siya. But this time we will have the word problem involving sets. So again, let me give you this example. So example number 1, a group of 25 high school students were asked whether they use either Facebook or Twitter or both. 15 of these students used Facebook and 12 used Twitter. Take note that there are a total of 25 students who use Facebook and Twitter. So maybe some of them use Facebook only, or some of them use Twitter only, or some of them also use both Facebook and Twitter. And you have to take note as well that the 15 students mentioned there, no, in the problem, are those students who use Facebook. Okay, it does not mean that 15 students use Facebook only, because it was not stated in the problem. But what is stated in the problem is that there are 15 students who used Facebook. Again, those 15 students, it doesn't mean that they only used Facebook. There is a possibility that some of those 15 students, they also use they also use Twitter aside from using Facebook. And there are also 12 use Twitter. And then again, same scenario with Facebook. It does not mean that those 12 students, they only use Twitter. Okay? Sometimes there may be possibility that some of them use Facebook as well. So the same explanation for Facebook earlier. Okay, take note. If we try to add 15 and 12, the answer is 27. Because there's a possibility that some of them really is using Facebook and Twitter. That is why the responses is more than 25. Okay? The responses is more than 25 because some of them respond to two answers. No, some of them they check Facebook, they also check Twitter. So that is how you do surveys, man. Sometimes the responses are more than one, especially if you are talking about like this. Okay, so there are some of us use Twitter and there are some of us use Facebook only, but some of us also use the both social networking sites mentioned here. Now we will start our, so since the problem is asking how many use Facebook and how many use Twitter only, how many use both social networking site. So this time one thing is for sure that the question in the follow-up question in A, it does not mean that the answer for that is 15. Because 15 is the one using Facebook. It does not mean, again, I will repeat, it doesn't mean that they only use the Facebook. So how are we going to answer this? So what are we gonna do first is you have to represent the possibility, okay, all the possible answers. What I mean is you have to represent first those who are using Facebook only, those who are using Twitter only, or those who are using both social networking site. You can also try to represent those who are not using social networking site, because if you try to draw the universal set for this, since you asked 25 students or 25 high school students, automatic that universal set will be, or the cardinal number of the universal set is 25, because you asked 25 students all in all. And also, since it was not mentioned here that there are students who did not respond, we assume that all students responded good, right? Therefore, outside of this one is 0. Okay, the cardinal number is 0. It's there, ha. Again, the cardinal number of those who are not using any of Twitter and Facebook, that means they are only 0. Because it was not mentioned here, man. So we assume that those 25 students responded to our survey. Okay? So, since they responded to our survey, so we will have two sets. set for Facebook, those students who answered Facebook, and those students who answered Twitter. So that is the reason why I draw two circles there. Okay, so we will represent this circle as those students who used Facebook, for example, and we will represent this circle as are those students who use Twitter. Now, after that, we can have this representation. S1 will be the set of students who use Facebook only. S2 is the set of students who use both social networking sites. And S3 are those students who set of those students who use Twitter only. So in our diagram, it should be like that one. And you have to take note, the all area here, S1 and the S2, combination of S1 and S2, that means that is your set for those students who use Facebook. But only S1, kanang S1 diha nga part, this one, these are the students who use Facebook only. And S2 there, nga part, those are the students who use both social networking sites. As you can also see in our graph, that means since the whole area here is the one using Facebook, pero only S1 are only those S1 nga sets of students are using Facebook alone. Gipart gyapon niya sa atong circle, part of it is S2 still because all those S2 nga nabilong is those students are also using Facebook. It's just that they're also using another social networking site. So mo na ang meaning sa S2 diha. So na-include gyapon siya sa Facebook, right? So apil gyapon siya sa set. So S2 still a subset of Facebook. Okay? So again, S2 there is a subset of Facebook. That means part of still. So that means set of students who use both social networking site is still part of those students who use Facebook. Okay, that is the reason why we call it a subset. Okay? Same with Twitter. So Twitter, we have S2 and S3. So S2, they still use Twitter, but they use also another social networking site. And S3 there will represent those students who use Twitter alone. So how are we going to solve that? So from the idea, we know already that all those 25 students responded to our survey. Meaning, they either check both or they either check one of the social networking site mentioned. Okay? So wala sa ilaha nga wala di respond. Because diba, when we do survey, sometimes it's okay if they do not respond. So still, they are part of universal set that we asked man. So they are still part of the universal set. In this case, since it was not mentioned in the problem, automatic na nga zero, no? Ang students nga wala ni respond, zero siya. Okay, so in our universal set, the total in the rectangle there, so the total in the rectangle there is, for a while, is 25. So here, the total for this rectangle is actually 25. I hope that is clear. 25 had the universal set. But, the total also of S1, so if we can represent those students who are not using any of the social networking site, that is actually zero, which we don't need to represent naman, but if you represent that one, we can have until S4 here. But S4 must be inside the rectangle, but outside of the circles. Okay? Outside of the circles here because those are students who did not respond or who did not use any of the social networking sites, the Facebook or the Twitter. So that means it should be placed outside the circles but inside the rectangle because they are still part of those we asked. No? It's just that ang tanang na-respond is na-respond gyud siya sa kuan. Sa set, sa Facebook or sa Twitter. So this time, we know, from what we know, since the only given number is that there are 25 no, in the universal set, we know already, and when we say 25 from the universal set, that is the total or the sum of all the cardinality of S1, S2, and S3. So cardinal number of S1, S2, and S3 is equals to 25. That is from the given we have. Now, where did I get 12? We know already that Twitter are using what? Twitter, there are 12 students who are using Twitter. No, that is a fact. That is based on the problem we have earlier. So from there, so if since we know already that the total is 25, or the cardinal number of S1, S2 plus S3 is equal to 25, and we know also that Twitter, there are 12 students, although we don't know exactly what's S2, we don't know exactly what's S3, but based from the given problem earlier, there are 25 who use Twitter. So all area here is 25. That means S2 plus S3 is equals to, it's 12. So whole area here is 12. Therefore, S2 plus S3 is equals to 12. Right? Therefore, what is left? If S2 plus S3 is equals to 12 already, it's S1. Therefore, S1 is equals to 13. So S1 is equal to 13. The same scenario in solving S3. So how are you going to solve S3? Then subtract it to S1 and S2. Then what is S1 and S2? Oh, you know already what's S1 and S2. S1, a cardinal number of S1 and the cardinal number of set 2 is equal to what? 15. Based on the problem, there are actually 15 who used Facebook. So we will move forward. Okay, so it's actually 15. Therefore, what is left is just the S3. Therefore, we can say, or we can conclude that the remaining 10 students, they use, those are the set 3, in which our set 3 is those who are using Twitter only. The third question there in our given problem is, how many are using both social networking sites? That is our C. So now, from the given, we have here 13 and 10. Since we know already that N1 or NS1 and then NS2 plus NS3 is equal to 25, then therefore, if we do the substitution, so 21 is equal to 13, and then 22 is, we don't know that one yet. That is what we are looking for. Lacking, because we're done with S1 and S3 naman. So, S3 is also equal to 10. Therefore, that should be 25. So, what conclusion you can make here? We can make this one. So we can conclude that the remaining 2 will be your what? The remaining 2 will be your NS2. So that there are actually 2 students who use both social networking sites. Okay, that is based on from the given that we already know. Okay, so the answer is actually 2. So this is another solution. So try to think it over na lang. Why is it 15? So it's 15 because we know already that S1 plus S2 is 15. That is based from the given, which is we know that there are 15 students who use Facebook and there are 13 students who use Facebook alone. This is the S1. Therefore, the S2 is 2. The same with this if you use the Twitter. And then still the same, the answer is 2. So any kind that you can, nga ang may bilin is S2 na lang, you try to get all those information. Okay? So this time we are complete. No, S1 is equal to 13, S2 is equal to 10, and then S3 is equal to 2. So from there, we can make this diagram already like this. Now, let's try to go back in the problem. It was stated that there are 25 all in the survey. Do we have 25 all in the survey? Yes, 13 plus 2 plus 10 is equal to 25. Another given from the problem, so we have to recheck man if it's really correct. So from the given problem, it was also given there that there are 15 who use Facebook. Let's try if there are 15. Do we have 15 in that circle? Yes, 13 plus 2 is equal to 15. It was also mentioned in the problem that there are 12 students who use Twitter. Let's try to get the Twitter there. It's 2 and then 10. So add them together, the answer is 12. Therefore, it is correct that there are actually 12 students who use Twitter. And the rest is already our answer. Question A, how many use Facebook only? It's 13. How many use Twitter only? It's 10. And then How many use both social networking site? It's two. Okay? This time, we will have example number two. So in example number two class, actually, there are three sets involved. What are those sets? So by the way, our universal set will be the Palawan province. So what are those destination in Palawan that is known to public? Let's just assume, so these are the following. So we have Coron, Tubataha Reef, and El Nido. Okay? So in this case class, so aside from having a rectangle to serve as our universal set, so we will have three circles as well. But I'm going to change colors for a while. Okay, this time we're going to have like that one. Okay? So we will represent blue as Coron. Again, we will represent blue as Coron. We will represent pink as Tubataha Reef. And then we will represent green as our El Nido. Okay? So that's El Nido. So those are the representations we have. Okay? So don't get confused. If so that means let's try to go back first in the problem. So don't get confused ha. There are 24 who joined to Coron. There are 18 who joined to Tubataha Reef and 20 joined to El Nido. Now, those 24 students who joined in Coron, it does not mean again that they only went to Coron. It's just that the total number of tourists who went or who joined the trip in Coron, they're actually 24. But it doesn't mean that tourists, they don't also visit the other places. So there's possibility that they also visit other places, okay? It's just that the total of those two tourists who visit El Nido is 24. I hope that is clear. So same with the 18 of the 18 who went to Tubataha and 20 who went to El Nido. So in our representation earlier, so 1, 2, 3. So this one is for Coron. So this part here are the students who went to Coron. Okay, the whole circle, good. And then this part here are those students who went to Tubataha Reef. And this part here are the students who went to El Nido, Palawan. How about the next one? It was mentioned here that there are 12 made a trip to Coron and Tubataha Reef. What does it mean? So it means that in our graph, again, this is our universal set. So in our graph, there are actually 12. Okay, there are 12 ha, who went to Coron and Tubataha Reef. Where is your Coron again? This one, and this is your Tubataha Reef. Since this is your Coron, this is your Tubataha Reef. So this part here, this one, these are the students who went to Coron and Tubataha Reef. Again, that part, that it doesn't mean that if they go to Coron and Tubataha, they went only to Coron and Palawan only. It doesn't mean it that way, okay? So, there are 12 students who went to Coron and Tubataha, but it doesn't mean that those students just went to Coron and Tubataha. So there's also possibility that some of them, they also went to another place, like just like the El Nido. Okay, so there's also possibility. You can also confirm that one from our graph. If you can see, there is small portion that is also part of the El Nido. No, the one that we shade na small portion dito nga part si El Nido. That means there might be possibility that there are also some who went to El Nido aside from going to Coron and Tubataha. Okay, I hope that is clear. Same explanation to those who went to Tubataha Reef and El Nido and made a trip to Coron and El Nido. So, same explanation lang yapon siya. Okay? How about those who went to saw the 3 tourist spots? So, in our diagram earlier, so we have 1, 2, 3. Those who went to 3 tourist spots is this one. So, kana siya ang region. those students who saw the three tourist spots. Okay? I hope that is clear. That is how the representations of each of the mentioned there information represented yun in the diagram. Now let's try to have the follow-up questions. So we are asked to give the number of students who went to Coron only. Only ha, only. So and then the second question is how many students went to Tubataharif only. And letter C is how many students joined the El Nido trip only. And letter D is how many did not go to any of the tourist spots. So what is this? How many did not go to any of the tourist spots? So since it was mentioned, so not all of them are in the circle. So not all 50 students are inside the circles. So there are some of them who is part of the rectangle or the universal set but outside the circle. So it's placed here. Okay? But we don't know yet what is this. Okay? Again, we don't know yet the question mark there. But one thing is for sure that that question mark are those students who did not go to any of the tourist spots. So they've, and I am part of those. No, I'm not been in Palawan yet. Okay? So that is example 2. So we will represent all those in our graph. Okay? In our Venn diagram. So what's our Venn diagram again? We draw like this. And then this is the universal set. This is our Coron. This is our Tubataharif and then the El Nido. So we will represent this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So we have 8 representations all in all. The one outside, the one who went to Coron only, Coron only, it's here. Tubataharif and the El Nido. The one visited the Coron and Tubataharif only. There should be supposed to be only a word ha. And this one is those who visited, what is this? Tubataha and El Nido only. And this part is Coron and El Nido only. And the one in the middle, mo part ha, of C and E. And this one in the middle, that one, that is those students who went to three spots good. The Coron, Tawataha, and El Nido. Okay? So we will represent all those. Again, P1 will represent our the students who saw the 3 tourist spots. P2 will be those students who visited Coron. P3 are those students who visited Tubataharif. Those who joined the El Nido trip only. P5 are those who visited Coron and Tubataharif only. P6 are those who joined the Tubataharif only and El Nido trip only. And then 7 are those Coron and El Nido only. And then P8 are those who did not see any of the 3 spots. So these are actually the total, the representations. Okay, the P8, the P3, and so on. Okay, and here is also the sets. Coron, Tubataharif, and El Nido. Although these are actually sets gihapon. But then, subset na siya, no? From the sets we have there. No, some of those are subsets already of the sets from what we have there. Okay, let's continue. Actually, it's easy for us to answer those. The questions are P2, P3, and P4, P5, and P8. Those are what is asked in the problem. So we actually need to solve what is P2, what is P3, what is P4, and what is P8. So we need to solve all of those. So let's try to solve all of those, right? So again, you need to go back from the given or from the problem. So because we need to do the representations also of the given informations in the problem. So the first given information is the 50 students who went a tour in the Palawan province. So there are actually 50 students who went to Palawan. We're not just sure if the 3 sets that we mentioned, the Coron, Tubataha, and El Nido, if all those 50 went there. So we don't know yet. Okay? So our universal set will be 50 because we asked 50 students all in all. And then we also know that there are 24 who joined a trip to Coron. So what can we say about the 24 who trip to Coron? Again, you try to look at your circle or the one that you make as a set. This one. As you can see, inside or the subsets of Coron are P2, P7, P5, and P1, right? Again, the subsets of Coron, okay, the subsets of Coron are P2, P5, P1, and P7. So why is it subset or the elements? Or we can also say elements, okay? But since those P1, P2 are sets, so we will not call them as elements lang. We will call them still as sets. That is the reason why we are using subset here, okay? So those are subsets na lang of Coron. So P2, P5, P1, and P7 are subsets of Coron. So, since we know already the cardinal number of this Coron, we know that if we add P2 plus P5 plus P1 plus P7, the cardinals of those, then therefore, the answer is 24 actually. The same with the rest. So, we have 18 from Tubataharif. So, from Tubataharif here, we have P1 plus P5 or P3, sorry, plus P5 plus P6. So, those are the one who joined the Tubataha Reef. Okay, so that's actually 18 based on what is mentioned in the given information. And then we also have 20 who visited El Nido. So, include it there. And we also have 12 who made a trip to Coron and Tubataha Reef. What does it mean? Where is Coron and Tubataha Reef? Coron and Tubataha Reef. See, we have here P is that P1 and the P5, right? Let's check again because it was natabunan siya. So it's here, P1 and P5. That is actually, sorry, this one. P1 and P5 siya, that is actually Coron and Tubataha Reef. So we can say that P1 plus P5 is equal to 12. And same with the rest. We have 15, so Tubataha and El Nido. Where is your Tubataha and El Nido? El Nido, Tubataha. Okay, so therefore, it's this one. P1 and P6. So, P1, P6 is equals to 15. P1 and P7 is equals to 11 because we have 11 students who went to Coron and El Nido. Okay, just go over with it. And there are 10 who saw the 3 tourist spots. Therefore, that is our P1 because P1 is the one who saw the 3 tourist spots, the cardinal number. Okay? Therefore, these are the informations we have all in all. From these informations, we can get actually what are the answers for some of the PP. Okay? For some of the set. So, what is P1? Again, so it was given already. So, we can conclude that P1 is equal to 10. But how about the rest? How are you going to solve them? So, first, you need to find first those addend that has only 2 cardinal number. Or 2 addends lang siya. What do you mean by addends? Duha ra yang gi-add pa. Okay, nga cardinal number. So we have E, F, G. Okay? E, F, G. So from what we know, since we know already what is P1, that is actually 10. So we can rewrite this one to 10. Right? So therefore, what's our NP5? Which is equal to 12. 10 plus what to make it 12? So the answer is actually 2. Okay, so the answer is actually 2. Very good, right? So how are we going to represent it there? So wait for a while. Again, you can have an empty like this, no? So that you can write properly now your cardinal number for each of the set. Okay? So earlier we have this one as 10 and then this is 2 equals 12. Then therefore, where to place 10 one? Which is P1? Okay, in the middle. That's 10. Let me rewrite it so that, okay, it's 10. Now, the 2 there is those students who went to, that is your NP5, the 2 here, right? That is your NP5, the 2. So where is your P5? It's here. So you will have to write 2 there. I hope you can easily recognize that it's 2 the one I am writing there. And then for F, again, we know already what's P1, right? It's 10. So therefore, P6, it's 5, right? To make it 15. P6 is 5. So write it there, 5. Okay, next, we have, again, this is 10. Therefore, P7 is equals to 1. So P7 is here. You write 1 there. Okay, I hope that everything is clear for now. So again, we now have the informations from P1, P5, P6, and P7. So it's easy, no? So we now have 4 informations. So there are still 4 remaining. So from what we know, you can proceed with those addends that has a lot of addends na. So more than 2 na siya. So maybe 3. So can we see 3 addends there? No. Proceed with those sum that has 4 addends. Okay, so we have and okay, so for let's start with letter B. We know exactly what is P1 already. It's 10. Do we know what's P2? We don't know yet. Do we know what's P5? P5, it's here. So it's actually 2. Okay? So we write here 2. So P5 is equal to 2. How about P7? No, we know already P7. It's actually 1. It's here, P7. Therefore, 10 plus 2 plus 1, it's 13. So 24 minus 13 is equal to 11. So to make letter B equal to 24, we need to make P2 as 11. I hope that is clear. So that is 11 ha. So P2 is actually 11. So we write here 11. I hope that is clear. Same with the rest. Okay, so again P1 is 10. I will write na lang everything here is 10. Again P5 is 2, and then your P6 is 5. You write 5 here. So 2, 5, and 10. What is 10 plus 2 plus 5? It is actually 17. Therefore, P3 class is actually equal to 1 only. Okay, this is P3, so we write here 1. How about letter D? Again, letter D here, there's P1 there, which is 10, plus P4, we don't know yet, plus P6, we know already P6, it's 5, and then lastly, we know already P7, which is equal to 1. So all in all, this is 5, this is 1. So 10 plus 5 plus 1, it's 16. Therefore, your P4 is equal to 4. I hope that is clear to all of you. So therefore, we can now add all of this together. Let's see if it is equal to 50. So actually, if you add that one together, your answer is 34. Then maybe there are only 34 who went to Palawan. I mean, who went to Palawan and they were able to visit those any of those 3 spots that is being mentioned, no, tourist spots that is mentioned in the problem. But then maybe the rest, because there are 50 students who went to Palawan man, maybe the rest they went other places aside from the one given in the problem, no? So therefore, how many all those? So since we have 50, all in all 34 ang naasa circles, therefore 16 are the one outside the circle. Outside the circle but inside the rectangle ha, because the rectangle, those are the total number of students to we asked. They're actually 50. Okay, so the one outside here is 16. Okay, so actually our answer earlier is the same with this one. Okay, so you can try to confirm if you got the correct answer based on the information. Can you please try to go back, no? Try to go back, rewind this video, and then do a screenshot from the problem so that you can recheck. Okay? So from the given information here, from the given information in the problem, we can say that we get the correct answer. So how many of those again who went to Palawan? Let's try to go back na lang here. Okay, so memorize all of this ha. There are actually 24 who joined the trip to Coron, 18 to Tubataha, 20 visited El Nido. Let's try to correct that one. So, are there 24? So, let's try to Coron. So, 11 plus 1 plus 2 plus 10, is that 24? Yes. So, there are 24 who went to Coron. So, try to go back to the word problem if it's actually 24. And then, there are actually, in El Nido, there are actually what? In El Nido, there are 10 plus 1 plus 4 plus 5. There are 20. Kindly check if in the given, there are actually 20 who went to El Nido. So from Tubataha, they're actually 10 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1, they're actually 18. So kindly check also if there are 18 who went to Tubataha Reef. And then lastly, we have 16 outside the circle. Okay? So you can also confirm that one if it was not actually mentioned, no? You're actually asked to get that. Okay? So aside from that, what is still the other informations given there? So it was also mentioned those who went to Coron and to Bataha Reef. And they're actually 12 daw. Let's check if 2, 10 plus 2, it's 12. So kindly please check in the problem again if it was mentioned there if it's 12. Those who visited Coron and to Bataha Reef. And let's try to have also the 10 plus 5. That is for the Tubataha Reef and El Nido. And we also have 10 plus 1, which is 11. That is for the Coron and El Nido. Okay, so just try to go over if you get the correct answer. So if the informations mentioned in the problem is also the same with this Venn diagram here, then therefore we get the correct answers. Okay, so it was also mentioned that there are 50 students all in all. Kindly please add all of this together if it's 15. If yes, then yes, exactly, we got the correct answer. Now we can answer the questions one by one. Again, the question in A, how many of the students went to Coron? The answer is 11. In set B, how many students went to Tubataha Reef only? Only same with number 1, it's only. So there are actually 11 only. And then how many students went to Tubataha Reef only? 1 only. How about El Nido only? So the answer for that is 4. And then for letter D, how many did not go to any of the tourist spots? Your answer must be 16. Okay, outside the universal set. I hope everything is clear and well. Okay, I hope you understand the lessons about problem solving. Goodbye, everyone.